Commissioner Morrison is here. Morning. Morning.
Mike.
So we just would like to welcome everyone to the Waters Church. Oh, sorry. So welcome everyone, can you hear me? To the Waters Church. Welcome Commissioner Morrison. I see you brought your beautiful students with you too. That's fabulous. Welcome everybody. So the Eastern Shore is a very special place, and it's really an honor to be hosting the commission. And we could not have done so without a lot of help from wonderful people who are sitting over here, and I'm going to ask them to stand up if they would please. Okay. So you're looking at the people, the fabulous people behind the Waters Edge Museum, which will be open after this meeting. And may I present, this is Kiara Brummell and Jalen Hicks, Dr. Lydia Williams, and K.L. Brown. So they really work as a team, and it is true that all four of those women were born on the Eastern Shore and are telling the story that's being told for the first time in a museum of the founding Black families of America. So I'd like to thank them. Of course, we're meeting in a very important sanctuary here in Oxford, and it's really my honor to present Mr. Marshall Johnson, whom I've known for a very long time. And he serves as a trustee to the Waters Church, and Reverend Pinkett, who's standing right here. So I just want to thank you both for hosting us. It's very kind of you to do so. Thank you. We were wondering if it would be okay for you to offer a prayer.
Yes, ma'am.
Please. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Miss Barbara. Thank you. Eternal wise God, we come to you, Lord, saying thank you. Thank you, Lord, for what is about to take place. We felt your presence, Lord, as we opened our eyes this morning. So, Lord, we're asking you to lead us in the understanding of doing your will. So we know that the will here today will be complete because it's all of you, O Lord. So we ask you that everyone that is involved, Lord, that you carry them, that you give them strength, Lord, give them the understanding, Lord, and give them the will and the words to complete their endeavor for the day. That you have granted them safe passage this morning, Lord, as you woke them up this morning. And that you're going to grant them safe passage, O Lord, throughout the day, and understanding and covenant them with your love and understanding, your grace and your mercy. We ask in all these things this morning, Lord, for the greatness that you continue to give us as we live. Thank you, O Heavenly Father, for the awesomeness that you provide, and thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ. These are the words that I ask for your understanding and love. In your Son, Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, so I'm going to give the call to order. I have really big shoes to fill. Mr. Bernard Herbert, our administrative manager, is out today. How's everybody doing? Good. You guys doing good? I see the young people in the back. I love it. All right. Well, welcome to the Maryland Commission on African American History and Culture public meeting this Monday, December 2nd, 2024. We are here at the Waters Church in the historic Oxford, Maryland. I'm going to give the call to order. Commissioners, if you can say present, and Chair Davis, if you can say excused for any commissioners that are excused. Chair Maya Davis.
Present.
Vice Chair Dr. Kali Aset Amen.
Present.
Commissioner Lori Bradford. Commissioner H. Russell Frisbee.
Present.
Commissioner Dr. Walter Gill.
Present.
Commissioner Janice Curtis Green.
Present.
Commissioner Philip J. Merrill. Commissioner Jalen Molney.
Present.
Commissioner Dr. Brian Morrison.
Present.
Commissioner Dr. Barbara Paca.
Present.
Commissioner Dr. Robert Patterson.
Excused.
Commissioner Ada Pinkston.
Present.
Commissioner Hakeem Tijani. Commissioner Reggie Turner.
Excused.
Commissioner Eleanor Thompson.
Present.
Commissioner Kennedy Wilson. Commissioner Wesley Wood.
Excused.
Thank you, and that is our call to order. I thank all of the community for being here today for our public meeting and the BDM staff. I will pass it over to our illustrious Chair Maya Davis.
Thank you, Chanel. At this time, commissioners, you should have received the minutes from our last public meeting. Is there any discussion around the public minutes? Seeing none, I'd like to ask for an approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. At this time, I would like to welcome everyone to the Maryland Commission on African American History and Culture meeting today. I'm really excited to have this meeting here on the Eastern Shore, which we rarely get to the Eastern Shore, but we really want to be more intentional. And so our commission has made a dedication to host 6 regional hearings, meetings every year now. And so you will see us on an annual basis. And I really want to take this time to thank our commissioners, Jalen Money and Dr. Barbara Paca, for planning and selecting this historic church to be the host site of our public meeting. It is my first time, and I'm sure many others' first time coming into this church. And every time we come into a new space, it's just remarkable how much African American history and culture is out there. So I just want to say welcome on behalf of the commission. And I don't know if Commissioners Money and Paca want to take a couple of seconds to make a remark.
Where do you have the mic down there?
She's deferring to you.
I just said after you.
I don't think I... Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I think the opening remarks from those who were addressed, those who were recognized, and those who are hosting today were plenty sufficient. But I do want to give an underscore to visit the Waters United Museum after the meeting, if not a couple times that you can before the close of this year. It's certainly worth it, and I imagine you'll experience something that's enlightening, if not inspiring, wherever it leads you next.
Yes, thank you so much.
He says it all.
Thank you so much. And we will switch the order of our meeting today. We traditionally start our business meeting, but recognizing that, you know, a lot of times people are here to hear the special presentations from our guest speakers, who I really want to thank for coming in and being a part of the program today. I want to first start with Badette Coleman, Executive Director of the Association of African American Museums, who's here with a presentation today.
Yes.
Thank you, Badette.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. Go ahead and ask me that. How is everyone? Good. It's wonderful to be here on the Eastern Shore. Thank you for opening your doors to us. I am the president and CEO of the Association of African American Museums, and it's okay that Maya messed up my title because it just changed. So Maya, I won't hold that against you. It's quite okay. So this year, we had our conference in Baltimore. I see a lot of heads shaking. Yes, yes, yes. We had an amazing time in Baltimore. This year's conference was our 46th annual conference, and it was the most attended conference in the history of the Association of African American Museums. We had over 800 attendees this year. We all just came down and did a wonderful time in Baltimore, but this would not have been possible without the work of the Banneker-Douglass and now Tubman Museum. As host committee members and chairs, Chanel, you and your team were absolutely amazing. The commission was amazing. We had folks that were saying, oh, you got to do this tour and this tour. And I was like, listen, sign us all up for it, but just please make sure we have a bus. So I wanted to make sure and present this award to you. It's the 2024 Host Committee Award. I don't know where she's going to put it. Maybe in the tub. But yeah, so that can stay in the museum in perpetuity. But thank you so much. Thank you all for just being amazing hosts. You're welcome. Yes. Charleston, yeah.
Come on.
And the president and CEO of AAAM had a birthday yesterday.
Oh, thank
didn't hear that from
you.
me. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. I just stayed in the bed. I didn't do anything, so, but thank you. I appreciate you guys.
And now we will have a 5-minute overview from MHT, Trustee Elizabeth Hughes on the current state of affairs for rural African American churches. Is Elizabeth Hughes here?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we have actually a change of order on this agenda because Darius Johnson has baby duty today. He's a new father, and he's actually now representing Talbot County for the Maryland Historic Trust. So the 3-minute presentation that we were going to give about the Middle Passage, we want to give that time to the young women who've prepared an amazing presentation about their work in working with it's a women-owned, Black-owned, and developing country-owned company in Antigua and Barbuda called Botanique, and they're working to preserve the intangible cultural heritage of that island. And in their work, they're making amazing connections to the Eastern Shore and the people on the Eastern Shore who actually have Caribbean descent. So I'll just say about the RFP, about this Middle Passage port marker. We are just going to distribute that to you electronically. We've prepared an RFP, which is to have the Middle Passage port marker built in Oxford. All right, and we've been honored by UNESCO as sort of an official site of recognition. We're the only documented Middle Passage site on the entire right-hand side of the Chesapeake Bay. So that's Maryland, Delaware, and Virginia. And what's really cool that we're doing, and again, it's with these young women and women from the water's edge, is they've created an RFP that is now acknowledged as the first of its kind in the United States, where the Middle Passage port marker will be curated, designed, engineered, and built solely by people of African descent. So I think they're just going to share the RFP, and then I think without further ado, are you ready to give your presentation, ladies?
Yes.
Okay, so I'd like to present Kiara Brummell and Jalen Hicks, both of whom are rising stars on the Eastern Shore. So.
Steiner shoe.
She was up one minute. Where she was? Oh, okay.
Oh, there you are.
Same.
Wow.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having us today. We're excited to share our presentation on intangible cultural heritage based on 2 of our current projects at the Waters United Museum right down the street here. Our 2 projects that we currently are promoting are our empowerment dolls and the Antigua seedwork. So first we want to begin by defining what intangible cultural heritage is, or ICH, which includes the living traditions, knowledge, and skills passed down through generations that communities recognize as part of their identity. While ICH encompasses a wide range of practices like oral tradition, performing arts, social rituals, and ecological knowledge, today's presentation will particularly focus on traditional craftsmanship. Traditional craftsmanship refers to the skills involved in creating handmade objects such as textiles, pottery, woodwork, metalwork, and much more.
So these crafts are not just about the finished product, but about preserving techniques and knowledge that have been refined over centuries. They reflect the cultural values, creativity, and resourcefulness of communities by symbolizing the identities within a region and even telling the stories of those that lived before them. Traditional craftsmanship is not only important for cultural identity, but it also supports sustainable development and economic resilience by maintaining local economies and creating opportunities for these artisans. Botanique, a Black-owned, women-owned, Antiguan-owned company, has taken the initiative to immortalize traditional crafts that are facing obsolescence despite preceding generations. This initiative is executed by way of supporting Antiguan artisans so that they can continue to trade to keep such traditions alive while maintaining a sense of economic stability.
After this meeting, the museum will be open for you to come to our museum and see the seedwork, which is really beautiful. But at the forefront of Botanique's mission, other than keeping the culture alive, is uplifting and empowering young Black women across the diaspora. We at the Waters Edge Museum share a similar sentiment, along with allowing the two organizations to grow with our partnership.
So in this moment, there are two aspects of the Antiguan Intangible Cultural Heritage that Botanique spotlights. First would be the Antiguan seedwork, a craft dating back to enslaved Africans in Antigua and Barbuda. They embody traditional craftsmanship as a part of intangible cultural heritage, where women adapted homeland traditions with island resources, using spiritually significant seeds and beads to create jewelry. The empowerment dolls transform the topsy-turvy doll, a historical artifact often tied to the harmful depictions such as mammies, into a symbol of strength and liberation.
Intangible cultural heritage can't be known if we don't continue to share it. Waters Edge Museum takes pride in participating in different events to pass down these cultural traditions, whether it's partnering with the talented Antigua women or giving talks in Chestertown at River Arts, sharing the empowerment dolls with high government officials in the UK like Queen Camilla, or in our own state government like with Westmore and Senator Will. Culture is meant to be shared, and what better way through community and conversation. All of this is to promote ICH.
As this presentation comes to a close, some of you may still be questioning the importance of ICH. To put it simply, it is the driving force when it comes to having a better understanding of marginalized history. These traditions bring us closer to better understanding these stories and ourselves. As these projects progress, we reminisce of our own childhood, remembering how little we knew about our own history. We are reminded of how it felt when we couldn't see where we fit in the world, or even questioning the significance of our own community. Everything we do at the Waters Edge is to ensure that younger generations never have to feel this way, to enlighten everyone about the complexity within the Black community, and encourage marginalized communities to protect and showcase their intangible cultural heritage, so they can educate the world on their ancestors' legacy and their descendants who continue to do great things.
And that is all. We just wanted to thank you all for listening and allowing the commission, and thank the commission for allowing us to speak today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
At this time, we have a moment for brief comments from the commission. During this portion, all of the questions come from the commission and not members of the public. You'll have an opportunity to engage with the speakers at the end of the public meeting. Do any of our commissioners have questions for either of the two young ladies that just gave a presentation?
Good morning. Good morning. The teacher in me always has questions. I'm curious about the extension of this project to look at ICH here in Eastern, on the Eastern, in Oxford and on the Eastern Shore. Are there any projects that you guys have that you mentioned connecting Antigua to here? Is there any specific things that you're doing to connect that, to connect the ICH that's going on here with what's happening in Antigua, or just in general what's happening here?
So I'm glad you asked that question, actually, because earlier this year, we created a project called the Harriet Tubman Empowerment Doll.
It was her idea, she's being modest. And she's done a Josephine Baker doll too. She's beyond modest, sorry.
So what we're doing, we were trying to find ways to connect, to visibly show the connection between the Caribbean and the Eastern Shore, as there is a pretty extensive history between the two that stems from slavery. So what better to do that than by using their idea, the empowerment doll, to honor like the Queen of the Eastern Shore, Harriet Tubman. With the empowerment doll, we see we explain how multifaceted Harriet Tubman was. So one side has Union Army Harriet, and the other side is more so like Spy Harriet. And each side goes more in depth about the story of Harriet Tubman. When creating this project, I had to do some research myself because all I really knew about Harriet was that she has something to do with the Underground Railroad. And I learned so much from this project that I'm just excited to show this younger generation again that there's so much more, and to even spread conversations about our connection with Antigua, and maybe with that, people may better understand their own culture and heritage. Maybe they have Antiguan backgrounds that they didn't know about. So, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that for these students would be really helpful.
So during some of my tours at the museum, I'll often explain a story that stems from Caroline County, where like 75 years ago, Mason was working at Dappen House, which is a plantation in Caroline County. And while he was working, seedwork fell from the chimney. He takes it to the jeweler in Ridgely, and she can identify it as having some Caribbean background. Years later, Barbara Paca visits the jeweler, and she can see that it has that Antiguan background. We know that it didn't just spawn out of nowhere, so it helps us better understand those inter-American ships. I believe, I can't think of the exact, 25 inter-American ships docked here in Oxford. So we believe that like a woman that was on one of those inter-American ships was able to take something from her culture, a place where she knew that she was not coming back, and was able to utilize that on her new home. And for decades, like centuries later, we were able to find that and better understand her story and the bigger story of our own history.
Tell us what you think.
Beautiful.
Yeah, these are really good. It's fun.
I have a question that stems from me loving all things Harriet.
You are Harriet.
Yeah. And also having, being a descendant of Barbados, St. John's Parish in Barbados. And also I'm a doll collector. And I was just wondering, can I purchase that Harriet Tubman doll?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's, it belonged to Charm City Doll Collectors, which is a spin-off from the Federation, American Federation of Doll Collectors. And there were two that wanted to collect black dolls, just black dolls. And we're dedicated to collecting black dolls. The one is Motor City out of Detroit, and the other is Charm City out of Baltimore. And so we are the black collectors of the American Federation of Doll Collectors. So as a member of that, I would like to have this doll purchased.
We'll see you at the museum.
Oh yeah, and I also told, when I was here before at the museum, Chair Wilson was here, we purchased earrings, the beaded earrings and belts, and you remember, and so I told Ada, you gotta go over there and purchase some earrings. Jalen, I'm sure you already have some for your wife. Okay, I'm finished.
Yeah, absolutely. At the moment, we have, of course, the Harriet Tubman dolls in our possession at the Waters United Museum. We also have the garden dolls, which is more so a Botanique-centered doll that, again, celebrates Antiguan culture and heritage, more so the women and their contribution to that nation. And they have so much more. They're still working on the Josephine Baker doll. We don't have that at the moment, but of course, if you explain like that you would like one of these dolls, we'd be more than happy to put you on that list, and we'll get that to you immediately.
Me too, because they're all made of fatigued by women.
10 to 12 Harriet Tubman dolls. 10 to 12, all things Harriet.
And we also do kits, get you right there. But we do kits also where you can make your own doll if you want it more personable.
So you had the workshop at the Drawing Center in New York, which was incredibly well attended, where you were making dolls with the Antiguans. The Antiguan women were flown to work with them at the National Park Service at the Harriet Tubman Museum and present the dolls and the seed work as a team with these young people. It was incredible.
Did you have a question?
Yeah, could you go a little bit into the present day Caribbean community on the Eastern Shore, because that was something I wasn't too aware of until recently.
Yeah, so that would be something that Barbara would be a little bit more knowledgeable about. But you know, as I'm still kind of like learning more about this, I did learn that there's a couple communities that nod to that history. There's a community that I'm sure most of you guys are aware about called San Domingo. And it's in Talbot County, I believe. And I'm not very well versed in their culture in that neighborhood, but the name alone leads us to understand their history within the Caribbean, or how it's connected to the Caribbean. I also learned that there's a big population of people with Caribbean ancestry here in Maryland.
Charles County, that's where Barbados, they settled in Charles County, because that's where my father's from.
Yeah, so, and again, not a lot of people know this. I didn't know about it until I started working here. So, yeah, I feel like this is a great way to start those conversations. I was talking about this with my grandmother, and she said that her great-grandmother, my great-great-grandmother that I met for 6 years of my life, that they believe that she had some Caribbean ancestry. She's not really talking to that side of the family, so that was like earlier. But yeah, just starting these conversations is really cool. And,
Madam Chair, I know we have to move on, but before we do, I just want to say great presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and I also have Caribbean roots in Antigua and the Virgin Islands. Dr. Paca is aware of that. I collect topsy-turvy dolls, which is what that is, and the traditional dolls usually are an indication of single lifehood going into marriage. So it's really nice to kind of see the piece with Harriet Tubman, and I also will probably buy one of those as well. But at this time, in the interest of time, I'd like to bring forward Director Lydia Williams and the Assistant Director K.L. Brown to present on the Middle Passage Project.
Oh, we sort of, we wanted to give them adequate time to present, and maybe to have Dr. Elizabeth Hughes isn't here, but maybe to present on the ancestral. Maybe you and Commissioner Pinkston could do that with Commissioner Brady?
Well, if possible, we can hold that until the committee report on that.
Okay.
Because there is a spot for them. Okay. So we'll move forward. Thank you so much, and thank you for that wonderful
No,
presentation.
we're going to distribute the RFP for the Middle Passage Port Marker electronically because we wanted to let them have proper time. We didn't want to take up too much of the meeting time.
Okay, thank you. I'm just reading off my agenda. So now we will start with the reports. I'll give a brief report from the chair's report and governance. Is that the selections for the members of the commission, we have currently 4 vacancies, and so there were 4 vacant seats for 2020-25, and then there will be 5 additional vacant seats as 5 of our commissioners will be leaving in June. So the appointments office is reviewing that right now. We don't have the names, but we will share that information at the next meeting in February. And at this time, I will pass it over to our director, Chanel Johnson, for her director's report.
Thank you, Chair Davis. So for this report, I'll just be saying next for my slides. All right. Greetings, commissioners. I am so excited to share with you and the public the achievements and transformative moments during October and November 2024 at the Banneker-Douglass-Tubman Museum. Next slide.
Oh, sorry, I can't. I'm sorry.
All right. So before I begin with these updates, I'd like to share with you all our FY 2025 agency goals to help really underscore our collective planning and work as a commission, as a grant-making agency, and a museum. So goal 1, strengthen for FY 2025. Goal 1, strengthen our commission's communication and engagement. Goal 2, strengthen the commission's committee support and engagement. Goal 3, complete the strategic planning process. Goal 4, increase audience engagement. Goal 5, establish, and this really, audience engagement really relates to the museum and engagement at our public meetings. Goal 5, establish FY 2025 legislative priorities. Goal 6, improve the African American Heritage Preservation Program grant, administrative capacity and engagement. Goal 7, complete the museum facility, our museum facility repairs and upgrades. So the report that you'll hear from me today, as well as the committee reports from the commissioners, are tied to these agency goals. Next slide. Now on to October and November updates. Look at all these nice pictures. All right. Next slide. Our most significant milestone, and this is for the BDTM visitation and programs. Our most significant milestone for November, as far as our programming, was the historic November 1st renaming ceremony. Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. Deliberately chosen to coincide with Maryland's 160th Emancipation Day, this powerful convergence of past and present brought together community supporters and leaders, including Governor Wes Moore and the First Family, with acclaimed poet Nikki Giovanni, and no other than Harriet Tubman herself, brought to you by Marilyn Griot, Janice Curtis Green. Nikki Giovanni delivered an inspiring keynote that addressed an emphasis on our collective responsibility to future generations. The addition of Tubman to our name isn't merely a change in title, it's a recommitment to highlighting the often overlooked contributions of Black women in shaping our nation's history. Our impact extends far beyond our walls, as evidenced by our exceptional media presence, 111 media mentions across prominent outlets, including Essence Magazine, I don't know if you heard of Essence, and the Baltimore Banner. This visibility has translated into a meaningful engagement across all channels, with over 20,000 touch points in engagement, including nearly 1,000 on-site visitors and substantial digital reach across our social media platforms. Next slide. Our exhibitions and programming, or really this is our exhibitions and collections department. Our exhibitions and programs continue to break new ground. The collections team, raise your hand, our collections department. Martina Dodd and Leslie Rose. This collection team has reimagined our permanent gallery cases, creating powerful narratives around Black women's activism and abolitionists. You can see this new display at the Banneker-Douglass-Tubman Museum, Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 4 in the heart of downtown Annapolis. Looking ahead, our Sacred Spaces exhibition opens February 8th, which will feature, you see that artist on your left-hand side, artist Jabari Jefferson. Jabari is a groundbreaking multimedia artist, and he's going to present an art and augmented reality exhibition. This exhibit is an exploration of new technology, the African diasporic spirituality, particularly highlighting our namesakes, Harriet Tubman and Benjamin Banneker. The collections and education program staff are also working together to develop a new 10-week docent training program to increase our docent tour engagement. Next slide. Facilities and administration. Operationally, we're investing in the future of our building through significant facility improvements, including a new HVAC system, elevator replacement, and ADA compliance enhancements, ensuring our space remains accessible and welcoming to all. In November, LaRon, the administrative manager, and myself met with DGS to coordinate the schedule for repairs. Our first major repair within this capital project includes installing pinewood flooring in the first floor gallery this December. I'm so excited about that. Next slide. Community resources and upcoming events. This is for all y'all. Listen up. All right, next slide. Maryland's Year of Civil Rights 2024 is a collaborative initiative between our commission and the Governor's Office of Wes Moore, commemorating the Civil Rights Act 60th anniversary. Join us as a program partner Media toolkits are available on our website. Also, don't miss our commemorative publication, Revisit, Reimagine, the Civil Rights Era in Maryland and the Parallels of Today, featuring the Afro-American newspaper, Civil Rights Photo Archive, and contemporary art by Maryland Black artists that bridges past and present civil rights in the civil rights movement. I do want to give a special thank you. This publication is amazing, and it also is on sale. Okay, thank you, Martina. It is a beautiful commemorative catalog for this year, honoring the 60th anniversary of the Civil Rights Movement, and there's a very rare photo archive from the Afro newspaper that hasn't been seen, most of which since the 1960s. I want to give a special thank you to Vice Chair Callie Assett, Commissioner Jalen Money, and myself. I'm gonna give a shout out to myself because we created and developed essays for this publication, and of course a shout out to our collections team for your work putting this catalog together. It's a beautiful catalog. Next slide. So we are hiring a chief financial officer. This is a good government job, y'all. All right. This job post will go down tomorrow. But if you would like to apply, please go to www.jobapscloud.com/Maryland. Commissioners, our office is currently in process of scheduling interviews for the grant specialist position. So stay tuned to that because some of you will serve on the review panel. And in addition, the strategic, I'm gonna hold that off for you. Okay, next slide. Upcoming events. Join us this December for 3 signature events. Our virtual Voices for Change Forum on juvenile justice reform. Our annual Kwanzaa celebration with Ndimbia African Drum and Dance Ensemble. And a special reception following the Alex Haley Memorial Anniversary Cemetery that will be hosted at City Dock. But the post reception will be at the Banneker-Douglass Museum that same day. All is invited. Oh, but you have to register. Okay. Next slide. I'm so excited about this program. In partnership with BG&E, the Banneker-Douglass-Tubman Museum is providing transportation stipends for schools with limited access to transportation funds in the DMV. Sign up today by contacting our education coordinator extraordinaire, Abiola Akintola. Where's he at? Raise your hand, sir. All right, go see this guy. Because we want to make our youth programs, our docent tours, our workshops accessible for all Maryland youth. So we're really excited about that program. And our last slide. In closing, I want to express my deepest gratitude to each of you today. Your dedication to preserving and amplifying Maryland's Black history has tremendous impact in our state. To our commission members, our Heritage Grant Program staff, and our remarkable museum team, your passion and commitment inspire me daily. Tomorrow is Giving Tuesday. Giving Tuesday is a global day of generosity that takes place the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, where people are encouraged to donate to charitable causes and a collective spirit of giving back to their communities. Your gift of $25 or more will directly fuel our museum's youth programs, public initiatives, and groundbreaking exhibitions and continue to educate people of all ages and backgrounds. Together, we're not just preserving history, we're shaping it for the future generations. If you'd like to make a donation, you can go on our website. If you'd like to volunteer, you can see me after the program. And I thank all of you for your time and your support today. Thank you.
Thank you, Chanel. Right now, I know that Commissioner Reggie Turner is out. I don't know if there's another member of the Finance Committee who's able to give a report in his absence. If not, we will move on. We will now move on to the African American Heritage Preservation Grant Report from Commissioner H. Russell Frisky.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Today is the annual vote that the Commission takes on proposed African American Heritage Preservation Program grants. Before starting, I would like to thank Taylor Means of our staff, as well as staff of MHT, for the tremendous work they put into the project, to helping us analyze the grants. I'd also like to thank my fellow commissioners who we spent a lot of long hours on this. I would refer you to my email of November 22nd. In that email, I noted it was attached for your consideration, the AAHPP FY 2025 grant rankings. And I noted that there would be a vote taken today, and that if there were any questions, that the director, Taylor Reeds, and myself were available. We did not get any questions. Now, with regard to the actual African American Heritage Preservation Grant Program, this program is over a decade old. The purpose of the grants is to preserve sites and communities of significance to African American history in Maryland. But in making those grants, we not only look at the historical significance, we look at the impact of the grant. In fact, if you look at the Afro Archives, our Afro Archives is one of our grantees, and as a result, you have that preservation of Maryland history. And that's what this is about. Moreover, I'd like to note that the grants are not limited to sites owned or controlled by African Americans, but instead up to sites of all historic importance in Maryland to the Black experience. In fact, over 40% of our grants go to sites controlled by non-African Americans. Now, this year we had 75 applicants. They were very, very hard choices because for the most part, all of the applications were very good. We were assisted this year by not only the commissioners, but also by a set of volunteer examiners. This is the first time we've done that, and I think it worked very well. As you will note, what we proposed are a total of $5 million total grants to 30 awardees. I would note that this year awards are given in 18 of the 23 jurisdictions in Maryland, which is over 75% of the state. At this point, I would go through the list of grantees. Yes?
I have a question. The list of grants, you asked if we had any feedback. I didn't get a chance to even read the grants for historical significance. Each commissioner should be able, whether they're on the team on the African American Historic Preservation Grant Review Panel, they should have an opportunity to be able to at least read the grants before voting on any grant. So this...
Commissioner Thompson, this is an argument we have every year, which is why we specifically gave you the grants and asked you to get back to us with any questions. So this is,
This is not an argument every year.
It is an argument every year.
I think, but we, as commissioners, they should be able to, all commissioners, even if they're not on the grant review panel, should be able to at least read the grants because it is historical significance to what we do as commissioners, and just be able to read them, not just send out an email saying who is possibly want to be awarded. And that's all I'm saying.
You had the opportunity, you did not take it. At this point, I would go for reading the grants.
We know.
Commissioner, I'm speaking.
Well, you can speak.
First, Customs House, the applicant was Washington College in Kent County. The amount funded was $232,000. The next was the Briscoe Gray Heritage Farm, George Rice House. The applicant was the county commissioners of Calvert County, obviously in Calvert County. The amount was $50,000. The next was the Meander House Museum, applicant being the Meander House Museum in Kent County. The amount proposed is $247,000. The next is the Frederick Douglass Summer House. Applicant is the town of Highland Beach in Anne Arundel County. The proposed funding is $106,000. The next is Ashbury Methodist Church in Annapolis, Ashbury United Methodist Church of Annapolis in Anne Arundel County. The amount proposed is $193,717. The next is Blandair Enslaved Quarters. The applicant was the County Council of Howard County. Obviously Howard County. The amount proposed is $250,000. The next is Quinn Chapel AME Church. The applicant was Bethel AME Church. The county was Frederick, and the amount proposed is $250,000. The next is the Harlem Theater. The applicant was AJOR Real Estate Group LLC. The jurisdiction was Baltimore City, and the amount proposed is $243,000. The next is Ebenezer African Methodist Episcopal Church in Brunswick. The applicant was Ebenezer African Methodist Episcopal Church in Frederick County. The amount proposed is $195,000. The next is Brooks Methodist Church. The applicant was Brooks United Methodist Church in Calvert County, and the amount proposed is $77,000. The next is Catoctin Furnace African American Cemetery. The applicant is Catoctin Furnace Historical Society. The amount of the county is Frederick. The amount proposed is $150,000. The next is St. Paul Church Denton, and the applicant was St. Paul Church Historical Revitalization and Maintenance, Inc. The county is Caroline, and the amount proposed is $240,000. Next was Ashbury Methodist Church, Frederick. The applicant was Ashbury United Methodist Church of Frederick City, Frederick County. The amount proposed is $36,000. Next was Freetown Education Research and Cultural Museum. The applicant was Freetown Education Research and Cultural Center of Snow Hill in Worcester County. The amount proposed is $250,000. The next is Galilee Methodist Episcopal Church Cemetery. The applicant was St. Mary's College of Maryland in St. Mary's County. The amount proposed is $24,000. Next we have Barksdale Grocery Store and Tavern, and it was the applicant was BNCM LLC, Howard County. The amount proposed is $185,000. Next we have Fairview United Methodist New Windsor. The applicant was Fairview United Methodist Church in Carroll County. The amount proposed is $74,783. The next was, excuse the lights a little bit, Colburn and Jewett House at the Chesapeake Bay Maritime Museum. The applicant was the Chesapeake Bay Maritime Museum in Talbot County. The amount proposed is $242,000. Next we have Ashbury Methodist Church, White Marsh, and the applicant was Ashbury White Marsh United Methodist Church in Baltimore County. The amount proposed is $186,000. The next is Malone Methodist Episcopal Church. The applicant was Harrisville Malone Cemetery Maintenance Fund in Dorchester County. The amount proposed is $250,000. The next is the Charles Hoppy Adams Jr. House. The applicant was the Charles W. Hoppy Adams Foundation in Anne Arundel County. The amount proposed is $250,000. The next is Elk Landing Hollingford House. The applicant was the Historic Elk Landing Foundation. It was in Cecil County. The amount proposed is $49,000. Next is Mount Gregory United Methodist Church. The applicant was Mount Gregory United Methodist Church in Howard County. amount proposed is $236,500. Next was Mount Zion UMC Laurel. The applicant was NST Collaborative LLC in Anne Arundel County, and the amount proposed is $180,000. Next was St. Mark's Episcopal Church, Lappins, and the applicant was St. Mark's Episcopal Church, Lappins, and it's Washington County, and the amount was $75,000. Next was Tyree African Methodist Episcopal Church, Tyree African Methodist Episcopal Church Incorporated, Worcester County, and the amount was $250,000. The next was Cowdensville AME Church, Friends of Cowdensville AME Church in Baltimore County. The amount was $87,000. Next was Button Living Historic Center. The applicant was the Menair Foundation LLC, Montgomery County. The amount proposed is $106,000. Next was Mount Nebo AME Church. The applicant was the Friends of Historic Mount Nebo Preservation Corporation in Prince George's County. The amount proposed is $50,000. And next was Montgomery Chapel Cemetery. The amount proposed was, the applicant was the Montgomery County Parks Foundation, Inc., and it was in Montgomery County. The amount proposed was $10,000. The final awardee would be the Hosanna School, and the applicant was the Hosanna Community House Incorporated. In Harford County, the amount was proposed as $225,000. Once again, I'd like to thank my commissioners. We went through this long and hard, and even commissioners who used to be on the committee know that. So at this, Madam Chair, I would move the adoption of the awards.
Can we have it properly seconded?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? One nay for Commissioner Thompson. Can you put that on the record? Sure. Thank you. Seeing that, I'm sorry.
Complete the motion.
Yeah, I just want to complete the motion. It has been favorably voted by the majority of the commissioners with one nay. And so we will move forward with the nominations for the grant. Thank you, Commissioner.
The next step is, I think in 2 days, it'll be presented to the American Historical Trust for ratification, and then it goes to the governor's office.
Okay, thank you so much.
I'm so sorry, who seconded?
This was Commissioner Janice Curtis Green.
And who made the motion?
Commissioner Frisbee.
Okay.
Thank you, and I do want to say thank you to all of the members of that committee. I know that it is a very heavy lift and that it takes a lot of time and commitment on your part. So I thank each of you, both past and present, who have served. I thank you, Commissioner Thompson, for bringing your concern to the floor. It's something that we can talk about afterwards, but I do want to be fair in saying Commissioner Frisbee did send out the email, and so I thank you for doing that and taking that step, and we think about how we are responsive in between the times before we come before the public. So thank you both very much.
And the response was sent back.
Yeah, thank you.
That I didn't see the grants. It was sent back.
Thank you.
But that's okay. We'll talk about it afterwards.
Okay.
Well, so if I may, just very quickly, I want to echo, I'm glad you brought this to the fore, and this is a point of information question. Do all commissioners have access to the grant application files presently?
If they reached out to us, we would give them access.
I think that we should have a discussion about access to information for this committee. We recognize that certain commissioners elect to join this committee and have a governing authority on this committee. But I also agree that unless there is some reason that a commissioner should not have access to grantee files, we should make sure that all commissioners do have such access. I think it is asking a lot of people to evaluate grant applications without having full information to make those evaluations. That said, I think we would also need to establish a protocol in case of a challenge to the approved grantees. We would have to determine what would be the purpose of the kind of reading period that we're talking about for other commissioners to weigh in. Essentially, what kind of information or circumstance would need to be brought forth that would compel a review of a nominated grantee. And I think that those circumstances would be very, very, very narrow set because, as everyone knows, we do have a multi-layered evaluation process. We have methodical scoring. We have 20 reviewers, both commissioners and the volunteer external examiners from the community. So it would take a lot to upset a scoring and a ranking that's determined in such a methodical way. Nevertheless, there may be an outlier instance where that may be called for. So as this committee proceeds in its planning and thinking about future rounds, I would submit that these are some discussions that should be had.
So on a different note, I'm glad that we were able to get to 18 of the 23 jurisdictions throughout the state. That's really good. I'm curious though, I know the overwhelming majority of the applicants were from the churches and cemeteries. I'm curious to know, do we have any disaggregation of the data on the types of grants that were awarded and the types of applications that came in?
We had last year. I don't know about the current situation, but it's interesting to go in cycles. When I first got on the commission, it was Rosenwald schools. Then it was cemeteries. Now it tends to be more to churches. So it varies depending upon the applications. And to some extent, quite frankly, given that we've been here, this is what, our 13th year? So a lot of the Rosenwald schools have already gotten money, a lot of the cemeteries have already gotten money, and increasingly some of the churches are getting money.
Thank you. And I do want to take into consideration what you shared, Vice Chair. I think that's a very good point that you brought forward, and we can actually discuss it after this meeting. Next, we will hear from Ada Pinkston with the BDTM committee.
Okay, thank you. So the BDTM committee is comprised of 3 subcommittees, and that is the Ancestral Remains, Cemetery Research and Preservation, the Harriet Tubman Lifetime Achievement Award, and the Symposium and Statewide Book Drive subcommittees. So I would like to go down that list and let the chairs of each subcommittee speak. So the first subcommittee is the Ancestral Remains, Cemetery Research and Preservation, which would be Commissioner Thompson. Did you want to go or did you want to wait?
We can go. Yeah.
I can go.
Do you have your?
I report?
Where's the mic?
Oh, she has a presentation. Okay, so then
You have the PowerPoint, or because that's kind
You want to do the PowerPoint?
Okay, so then we'll wait. So we'll let them put the PowerPoint together and then we'll go down the list.
Okay.
Okay, so then maybe, yeah. Okay, so then the next subcommittee we have is the Harriet Tubman Lifetime Achievement Award subcommittee. And I saw the aunties walked in. We just did the award ceremony earlier this month or earlier in November. And the people that received the awards were Paulette Green and Donna Deere, who just walked in. And then we have Angela Crenshaw and Carolyn Brooks. We're trying to figure out the best next steps for 2025 in terms of making sure that the application gets distributed in a timely manner, and also making sure that we have the ceremony again at the same time next year. And then the symposium subcommittee, we're trying to figure out the best next steps for that in terms of thinking about how to organize and gather organizations and people who uplift African American history throughout the state, and make sure that these organizations have the right access to resources. And then, so we're figuring out about the next steps for 2025 and beyond. And then questions for the commission in general is that we want to create an archive of past symposiums and think about, we want to know where to find archival material from past symposiums. So I'll be sending an email out to the commissioners about that. And then we have the ad hoc book committee. Did you want to?
Absolutely. In addition to things shown off this morning that are printed by our wonderful team, we have flyers for the drive. This is now the second year, so wherever you may call home, please contact your local library. We have 3 that have signed up so far since the drive launched this year on November 1st. So November 1st was a really, really big day. And as a refresh, the committee is dedicated to serving as a restorative force on behalf of all Marylanders of all ages, members of the global majority and allies alike, ensuring access to titles that center the African diaspora and American experience in Maryland by combating the surge of documented censorship attempts in public school and academic libraries. So it personally means a lot for me to be given the report on behalf of Chair Wilson. This is my home. I love Talbot. Talbot led the inaugural drive with the most amount of donations contributed last year, so the rest of the state has that really high quality. To place us in context of where we're sitting right now, we're in Oxford, in the port, and right across the miles is Bellevue. So there's all sorts of ways that we need to be protecting our culture and combating violent censorship and erasure of our history through books is one of the things that's really billowing in our country, if not in other countries too. I saw The Guardian, which is an English publication, put up a report over the weekend that titles that include minoritized characters, so characters that are folks of color, have dropped from 30% to 17%. So be thinking about the readers in this drive, but also be thinking about the young readers who do become writers and are inspired in the same way that you heard during the doll that was shown earlier that I hope you go see after the meeting. Things that have been completed since then. So I had been alluding to 3 library agencies signing up and launching their own drives as a donation site. Those 3 counties are Calvert, Garrett, and Talbot. That list will continue to grow. We've given a bit more flexibility this drive and when people start. Those agencies know communities best. The doors are often open for all sorts of events. So between November 1st and Juneteenth of next year, the drive could run a week or it could run all of those several months. And those are the 3 that we have up so far. In addition to that, I did want to share, I had the fortunate privilege of being in Salisbury that just erected a new plaque not far from its plaque as a part of the Lynching Commission. And the folks who sponsored that were the Wycombe County Council, Salisbury City Council, the Historic Society for Wycomico, and the Preservation Trust. It's right along Main Street, and it commemorates Frederick Douglass's 1880 speech. So when we're thinking of examples of folks who've changed the world by virtue of being literate, daring to be literate, we have many of them on the shore, if not in our state. So that's something you should go pay a visit to if and when you're down on the lower shore. Actions to be completed. Last year, we shared the American Library Association's Office of Intellectual Freedom report. So far, it's about halfway produced in terms of results. And what we have so far from January to August of this year, again, documented examples are 414. Last year, over 1,100 titles were challenged. and bless you. And the final tally was 695. We're anticipating that to grow, and Maryland was one of 17 states in the country with over 100 challenges. So be vigilant wherever you choose to read and wherever you build community. And the last item we did want to ask is for support from other commissioners. Commissioner Wilson and I love doing this work. We travel as far and wide as we can throughout the state, but we would be joking if we considered doing all this work alone, and we welcome you. So if there is a show of hands of folks who'd be interested in joining us in this, please join our committee. We're looking for at least 2 to 3 more so that we can get to each region more regularly, but if you want to sit and think on it for a little bit, I'm available after the meeting for that.
Yeah. Thank you. Commissioner Monet, curious as to know if you have a database of the books that's already been donated to you, because I'm a library lover too. I have 3 libraries in my home, so I'm downsizing. So I want to donate some of the books and publications that I have duplicate ones. I'm not going to donate my collector's items, but I would love to donate some books, which I've already donated some to anyway, but I had some more today, but I forgot. So is there a database? So we won't, at drop-off spots, we won't have to duplicate those, books. Just curious.
We have not yet produced a database. It's something we would love to welcome the additional commissioners who join the committee in producing. It has considerable value, not just for the present and for future donations, but how we track what we've already collected. But I will share this with the public. We now have a tab on the commission website that has a series of FAQs, and among them are ways to communicate directly with the committee about titles, about your progress in your community, or questions you may have, such as the one that Commissioner Thompson just gave. And that is africanamerican.maryland.gov/book/drive.
And you can also grab one of these on your way out.
Yep, right down there.
May I ask a question? I have a follow-up question, Commissioner Mone, and thank you for your presentation. A quick comment about the database. Most of these books will have an ISBN number and barcode. The museum could invest in a barcode scanner, and as the books come in, the database could populate itself with the scanner. But anyway, that aside, quick question. I just want to make sure that I'm clear on the present goals of the book drive committee, and that is, as I understand it, to stock public and school libraries, not any other institutions or private outlets.
Those agencies that I named earlier are just the donation sites. And the beauty of our drive to others around the country is that the community ultimately gets to curate and decide what becomes of that collection afterwards. Last cycle at Kennard High School, they created their own library, which is an amazing cultural center. Others have done little free libraries. Others have made sure that that was accessible for asynchronous learning throughout the school year. So by no means are those partners who were announced earlier the only places that people can go to read or donate the books, but it's a starting point.
Thank you. And my last question is there such a thing as digital book donation?
That came up the first year, and it's an area of growth for us. We also want to make sure that books that we're collecting accommodate for reading challenges, like those that are in Braille, those that are audiobook, and the digital version too. So we have been thinking about that, but I think the bulk of our time over the summer and through the fall was accommodating many of the questions that folks felt in doing something for the first time. So we've not set that up yet for this one, but we're just starting, and we have a lot of room until June, so I welcome it, and I know Commissioner Wilson would too.
Thank you. And Ada, I think at this time, I guess we will move forward with the Ancestral Remains.
Yes, exactly.
Presentation.
Perfect.
I'm going to sit right here because if you guys don't mind.
Yeah,
But I need, You can click it. I have a. I want to explain a little bit about the Ancestral Remains. I want to explain a little bit about the Ancestral Remains project. Out of 5 different regions in Maryland, Anne Arundel County, Calvert, Charles, Queen Anne's, and Wicomico, human remains were found at several different locations. During this time, since 1960 up until now, the Maryland Archaeological Laboratory down in Talbot County has housed these human remains of human African American descent. And our project is to identify these remains with the living community, with the living descendants. The Maryland Commission on African American History and Culture has supported this project. We received the IMLS grant for $100,000 to identify these human remains and to give honorariums to the descendant communities. So I just want to explain a little bit about this project. It's been going on for about a year now. So I wanted to give a presentation as to the historical significance and the importance of having this Ancestral Remains project to continue on. Unfortunately, Commissioner Green is one of our committee members, Barbara Paca, as well as Ada Pinkston. We're coming off the commission in June of this year. But as what we do now, we want to make sure the next generation, they're standing on our shoulders. So Commissioner Ada Pinkston and I believe Commissioner Monet will be taking over this Ancestral Remains project. So we're making sure that we guide them in the right directions and do things properly. So here I am. Next clip. Okay, reference and research oral history using vital records and resources. These are some of my collections over the years as a genealogist, historian, and author that I've collected. Make a note of it. Some of these men are clergy, and they lived here on the Eastern Shore and Western Shore as well. They were original conductors of the and station managers of the Underground Railroad. I have vetted sources and citations that determine, give the information that they were one of many station managers. Please. During the mid-Atlantic slave trade and the shipping ports in various parts of Maryland, in some counties where the remains were found, they were located near church meeting houses, fraternal and benevolent organization meeting houses and societies, construction sites, plantations, private property, shipping ports, slave plantations, and undocumented Underground Railroad station stops. I know of 3. 3 in Anne Arundel County and 2 more in Queen Anne's County that's been undocumented, but because of the churches were the core of all our communities, and our cemeteries know of a very being research that I have conducted through my 50 year span. I have documents to serve that there was other stops Miss Tubman stopped on, and she had her accomplices out. So I want to explain a little bit about the fraternal organizations, beneficial mutual aid, and benevolent societies. During the 1700s, when the slaves were coming to port, we realized that, you need burial assistance. So some of those organizations was founded. In 1787, you can change, 1787, the man on the right, which is Richard Bishop Allen of the AME Church, was a former slave here on the Eastern Shore of Delaware, and he was at Lovely Lane Museum in 1787. He started the beneficial mutual aid burial societies. The first Fellows Hall was organized and incorporated in Baltimore, Maryland in 1819. And again, many of the organizations was founded during the mid-Atlantic slave trade times. They provide these organizations, benevolent fraternal societies such as Masonry and those other societies. They provided financial assistance to African Americans for burial assistance, widows and children, and helped slaves and former enslaved to adapt to society, okay? They didn't know what to do once they got, released from freedom. They didn't, or escape, they didn't know where to go. So that's why you have these meeting houses, and they would meet at houses. These members would have to pay dues. Members had to attend all meetings, and most meetings was held on Sundays or at nighttime. That's when they escaped. The research with the Ancestral Remains community and why we need steering committees in each community is to help vet resources so we can provide generational wealth and protection for our own stories. We need to tell our own stories. So some of the things are part of my collections as well, and other people have collections, is how you search and find out who the lineal descendants are from the human remains. You have to look in Bible records, deaths and birth and death dates, census records, shadow records, church registers, family Bible records, family history and genealogy resources, funeral programs and memoirs, land records, oral histories, photos with names, mutual aid and burial society records, slave inventories, slave manumissions, and wills. Here's some ledgers on the bottom, which is some mutual aid records from 1866 that will give information about possibly those human remains. But did you know that here on the Eastern Shore, Waters United Methodist Church was founded about 1800. But prior to that, we had people in the area, African Americans in the area that lived here. And the original meeting house was used as part of the Underground Railroad trail stop. We know that. We know that for a fact. It's closely located near Bennett's Point, where the ancestral remains were found in Gracesville, Maryland. London Gould Underground Railroad station manners descendants are interred at Waters United Methodist Church. Founders and congregants who helped to establish the first Freedmen's Bureau School are interred in the cemetery. You can turn. The importance, London Gould worked with Harriet Tubman, okay? In 1849, London Gould was sentenced to 5 years and 8 months in Maryland's penitentiary for assisting in harboring a slave named Harriet Turner. Harriet actually fled from Colonel John Tillman, who lived near the Poplar Grove Plantation in Centerville, Maryland. The Gould family members are interred both in the cemetery in Gouldtown and Waters United Methodist Church in Gracesville, Maryland. London Gould died in the penitentiary August 5th, 1850. Now here's his son, London Gould. If you see at the top his death certificate, this is a vital resource. And down at the end it says London Gould. His wife was named Mary Ellen Marsh. And London Gould was his father. And that's supposed to be Eve Green. And it was documented by his daughter, Martha Handy. And the living descendants gave me information, oral history, and this information can be found at the Maryland State Archives. So we use the vetted sources and citations. I just want to share this with you, and we're almost finished. Here's the spot where London Gould station manager of Harriet Tubman family is interred. Now, I'm not going to tell you where London Pool is interred, but if you look in the back, in that first era on the right, you'll see in the back is water. Every station that Harriet Tubman had, the people who wanted to escape from freedom was near the water, most of them. And even the ancestral remains that were found was located near the water. And here's a descendant, Terry Sorrell, who is a descendant of London Wool. And on the right to the bottom, that's that is Benjamin Boole's wife. So we need the steering committees. We're seeking research assistance to help to identify the lineal descendants in each region. We need to have virtual meetings because there are 5 different regions. We're going to create some conflict of interest statements and confidentiality statements. And in our budget from our LMS grant, we are going to provide some honorariums to the public so you can tell your story in each region. If you are or know someone who is interested, please see one of the visionary founders of this Ancestral Remains Committee. But we want to thank you all for helping to support our project and this important project so we can provide, again, generational protection for our stories and our history and put wealth back into our own community. So I want to thank you. I want to thank Maryland Historical Trust and the Archaeology Conservation Laboratory, Maryland Humanities Council, Rob Falorni just left, for the support during the whole time, during the whole year. And I just want to let you guys know, you can turn that. I don't know what I did with my presentation. You know, it's a very important project to document this history, this rich history that we have throughout our African American communities, as well as it helps us understand just who we are. And the purpose of us having these grant review panels is to help assist everyone to get some of their projects done that we need to get done. Without this preservation grant, we wouldn't be able to get a lot of work done, but we want to let you guys know that we appreciate you guys for supporting us in every kind of way. And if we can assist with anything as far as the historical significance go with some of your projects, please reach out to us. But we want to thank you for coming to, Kevin, and supporting our endeavors with this Ancestral Remains Committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Thompson and the members of the Ancestral Remains Committee. Does that end the BDTM?
Yes, it does.
Thank you so much. Is there any questions? At this time, we only take questions from the commissioners during the business portion of the meeting. You can hold your questions until the end. Are there any questions from our commissioners for Commissioner Thompson? Thank you so much. And briefly, I will just say the Strategic Planning Committee, we have hired a consultant for our strategic planning of the commission and the BDTM, and that consultant is Scrap Consulting. And I want to thank the commissioners who helped with that selection process, Commissioner Frisbee, Commissioner Pinkston, and Commissioner Turner. Thank you all so much for that. And we look forward to beginning that process in January. At this time, we will close out our reports and move on to new business. There is, I'm sorry, my apologies, Commissioner Morrison, it wasn't here on my agenda, and I'm so sorry, but I will open up the floor before I move on for the PR committee report. My apologies.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and I'll try to keep this brief, but our committee is very closely related to our strategic goal number 1, which is to bring about much more connection between the commission, excuse me, really good Thanksgiving, between the commission and the public. So the Public Relations and Historical Committee has been working on three fronts. Working on three fronts to address that particular goal, to bring about more awareness and connection of the Commission's work to the general community. And we're moving in three different areas. One is to bring back, or to revitalize our publication, the Pendulum. And on that note, we have determined that on January 20th, we will have our new volume coming out, and the theme is based on the 2025 Black History Month theme of African American labor. And at this point, we are seeking, we're looking for content for the newsletter. We're looking for someone to write a lead article about African American labor in Maryland for that publication, and the publication is organized into several sections. One section that is much important for folks here is what we want to connect the community through. Thank you very much. Through providing an opportunity for organizations that support the mission of the commission, which is to. I don't know if that's going to help. It's a little bit better, thank you. All right, is to have an event section for each of the geographic regions of the state, where you can share your events with the commission. They'll be posted in our newsletter for community events. So there's a form that is available and will be made further available for the public to be able to submit those events and have them listed in our newsletter. There's also a section, well, I won't go through all the different sections, but just for the general public, we want to have that portion highlighted. And for commissioners, anything that you may want to submit, particularly for each committee, the publication is quarterly, so anything that you want to submit for the upcoming quarter that you want to have in the newsletter, please make sure that you submit it. Our deadline is December 31st for the upcoming issue. That's pretty much that's pretty much it for the Pendulum. Our second initiative deals with our social media accounts. Commissioner Wilson has taken the lead on that. And commissioners, we really want you guys to use the form the template that she has shared through Mr. Herbert, sent that out already, so that Commissioner Wilson sent it out, so that you guys can submit directly to her post. And she's also shared a calendar of how she is posting to our LinkedIn account and to our Facebook account. There's a calendar of different kinds of things that are going on. You guys should have that as well. And again, we're moving to develop our social media presence. And the final piece is the public relations, or the public support. A request was sent to us by, are you guys going to talk about the other, from the executive committee, the Amtrak request? You guys didn't know.
That's on your report.
Yeah, but y'all approved it? Y'all good with it?
Yes, it was.
So we've received 2 requests for public support from the public, and as a part of our work as a commission, the public comes to us and asks us for support with your projects, and we provide support wherever we can see, and that falls under the purview of the Public Relations and Historical Committee. This is sort of the historical side. And we received a request from, not Amtrak, what was their name? Yeah, Ameristar. There are some piers that Amtrak wants to demolish in Harford County that has some connection to the Underground Railroad. And we received a request to support them in not having that go through. The committee reviewed it. We agreed that we should support this project. The draft letter of support has been submitted to the executive committee. The executive committee has approved it, and we'll move forward with sharing that in whatever channels we find the executive committee deems appropriate. Since we've received another request from, excuse me, let's go. From Dr. Ethel Hazard to support her work in establishing a connection between, it's very interesting work that she's done, establishing a connection. She wants to put together a working group to investigate the historical connections of Maryland's Eastern Shores, African American communities, and communities in Kentucky. Very similar to what you guys are doing with the Antigua and Barbados piece. And she's submitted some very extensive research that she's done and she's worked with others on, and we have submitted to the executive committee that we should support that work. We're not recommending that we set up a steering committee to do that work. That's not within our purview, but that we will connect her with all the support that we can and others who can assist in that process. But it's a very interesting project that she has. And, we'll continue to look at the research, and again, we recommend it to the executive committee that we support it. I believe that is it. Check us out on Facebook, check us out on LinkedIn, like us, join us, connect with us, send us stuff, tag us, do all that kind of good stuff to build up our connections. Thank you.
Just a comment. Quick historical aside, and we'll talk more. Apparently, the white Frisbees moved from southern Maryland after the War of 1812 to Kentucky, and I'm sure they took their slaves with them.
Commissioner Morrison, and to the fellow commissioners on your committee, outstanding report. I'm elated, and I'm sure our marketing director, Jan Lee, is elated as well, that this committee is reactivated in new ways. One thing that I just wanted to kind of put on the floor, and we can have definitely a deeper conversation about, is, with the strategic planning process coming up, your committee is definitely going to have a role in participating in focus groups. And this strategic plan, just for the public's knowledge, is not to strengthen the brand of the museum, but this is an agency rebrand to strengthen the brand of the commission and its role to operate the grant program as well as the Banneker-Douglass Museum. So as we build the groundswell for that strategic plan, which I think the outcome is likely going to be a merge of the commission and museum website, right? As we build that groundswell, I definitely want to just affirm that you have lots of material with the Banneker-Douglass-Tubman Museum to amplify, and the Pendulum on social media to really make it forward-facing for the public that the commission is the only African-American state commission to operate a state's museum as well as a grant program, which we are a national model. And when you say national model when it's Blackness, we're an international model, most likely. So, I just wanted to present that. So thank you.
Thank you so much for that. That ends our reports. I do need to make an announcement before we get to new business. There's a truck blocking the food delivery, and the pastor needs that to be moved at this time.
Or some kind. What kind of truck?
It's a Ford F-150 that's parked right here.
What color?
It's gray.
Oh.
Just need it back up so I can get the gas.
Thank you so much.
Once I get, you want to go back and forth?
You want someone else to drive you?
Somebody to do it for you?
I go but over here.
That's the auntie.
And at this time, we will move forward with new business. The one thing that's not on here that I think should be very brief is we need to have a brief discussion about the timing of our commission meeting. I think there was a proposal for two proposals on the table. One for our commission meeting to become hybrid so that we have a better outreach to the public. And then the other option is for the meeting to start at 2 p.m. as opposed to 10 a.m. And I'd like to put that out on the floor for discussion amongst our commissioners.
I would support the hybrid meeting because I think that's the best way to ensure full attendance. The problem with 2 o'clock is that if you're coming from Western Maryland, say to the shore, it becomes impossible, or or from the shore to Western Maryland, which is why I just don't think 2 o'clock works.
I echo that. I think the 11 to 1 is great. So I get another positive on what Commissioner Frisbee and Paca. It puts you right in rush hour when it's time to leave.
Yeah.
So the 11 o'clock puts you a little after rush hour in the morning, and we get out of here a little bit before rush hour in the afternoon, because for some of us, depending on which way you come in, it becomes a 2-hour across the bridge drive. For Paca to come to Baltimore County and Monet, and then for some of us to get to Easton. So I love the hours as it stands. But I like the hybrid. Yeah. That way more of the community could attend.
I too am in favor of the hybrid.
I have a question, and this might resonate with others who have recently joined, but I'm curious to know, have we ever considered other days of the week? Has Monday always been tried? Have we landed at this as a virtual trial and error? But that's another metric I'll throw on the table.
I've been on for 10 years and it was always Monday. I don't know when it started.
Right. How it's always been. So this is the first time a lot of these things are coming up for conversation, but I think in a post-pandemic world, we're seeing what our opportunities are. And so seeing the conversation and the direction of the conversation, I think only one motion really needs to be made at this point, and that is to move our meetings to have a hybrid option. Can I get a second for that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Seeing no opposition, it has been properly moved, seconded, and in favor. Any questions?
This is for the commission, right? Not the public.
Yes, just a comment as we move into the hybrid. I do want to emphasize that we do have a shared value around attending in person, so that we can travel around the state, so that we can meet all of you, so that we can become acquainted with the challenges and opportunities related to African American culture, history, and preservation. So as we communicate this option to commissioners, I just really want to double down on the point that in person is the goal. Hybrid is to expand access and for extenuating circumstances, in my personal view.
Could that motion be changed, requiring the commissioners to be in person, but the hybrid is to allow access for the community? Well, because I think it's important that we, like Vice Chair said, that we visit these different sites and become familiar with other parts of the state. Because if you did that, you'd stay in your own little box, and you really wouldn't get a feel for the community that we serve.
So what I would say is that was actually brought up for our commissioners, just and like what Commissioner Asset is saying is, it's for our commissioners to increase their capacity, because we have several commissioners that are university professors, and we did want to consider those schedules as well, and also with the understanding that they will attend a number of our public meetings in person as well. And the other thing that I did want to say about that is it will be very dependent upon whether our host site even has the capability of having a hybrid meeting. So that's something else that we should also remember as we continue to make plans for hosting our public meetings.
I think, can I just say this? I think as we know people have other jobs and things like this, but when they signed up to be as part of the commission and did receive their oriented package, we also let all of the commissioners know that we have meetings 6 times a year. Now that we have a schedule that's posted, our commissioners really need to try to attend these meetings, especially within the communities, because it really means a lot. However, you have people that are older, traveling from different parts of Maryland. It might be snowing in Allegheny County. They can visit, they can come to our meetings virtually, so I like it.
And thank you for that perspective. What I will say is we've had a couple of conversations in our leadership meetings, and that many people join this commission without understanding that information, and it's not until you are appointed. And so what we're trying to do is we will probably be working with our PR committee to better share that information on our website, so that when commissioners or people interested in joining the commission will actually have that information, because it's not really fair for us to say, you know, it's always been Monday, it's always been this way, when people are coming into something where they don't really have a full understanding of what it is that the expectation is. And so we have to do better as a commission in terms of communicating that to the public so that they know. And then we also have to be in a place where we don't have to do things just because it's always been done that way. We can move forward and we can grow. And so this is the ways that we do it. We vote on it, and I think this is the best way that we do. And at this time, I want to move forward in our schedule so we can try to end on time as much as possible, and having the discussion about our conflict of interest statement. And I believe our Vice Chair, Kiara, will be taking the lead on that discussion. We can actually table that conversation to the next meeting, and I'm sorry, that's just what I just told. My apologies. And seeing that we're going to table that, I do want to take a moment and just ask for a moment of silence for 2 individuals that we lost who were very integral to the film of African American history and culture and museum work, and that is Faith Davis Ruffins from the Smithsonian, who has been a curator at the Smithsonian since 1981, and Maryland's very own Vince Leggett, who was so impactful across this state in a number of ways. I just could never even share with you the amount of impact that he's had on my life and those in this room. So if you can, if we can give a couple of moments of silence for both Faith and Vincent. So at this time, before we adjourn, if I can get everyone to just say your name and your organization, save all fruitful conversation for after the adjournment. If you can just walk up, I'll pass the mic around, and you can say your name and your organization, and we will save all commentary for after the meeting. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Hi, Kiara. I'm the president of Teaching Artists Institute, as well as I am the parliamentarian board member for the Maryland Legislative Black Caucus Foundation. So I know most of you here, but it's happy to meet the rest of you. Thank you.
Well, I think I already did this, but since it was passed to me. I'm Dr. Burdette Coleman Robinson, and I am the president and CEO of the Association of African American Museums.
Good afternoon. My name is Kay Brown. I am the assistant director at the Waters Museum, and I am also the grant administrator with Waters United Methodist Church. And to the commission, I would like to say thank you. We were the recipients of the 24-year African American Heritage Preservation Award, and We are thrilled and will continue the work because our main focus is based upon the USCT soldiers that are buried at our church, and with the ancestral remains that are so close at Bennett Point, we're hoping that and would be honored that those remains would be at our church.
We appreciate the progress you're making.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Lydia Williams. I am from Oxford, and I'm currently director of the Waters Edge Museum. So please do come when the meeting's over. We will open up for everyone to come and have a tour. And I want to thank everybody for coming to Oxford today. I know it seems like it's a long way away, but it's worth it because Oxford is beautiful, and the Waters Edge Museum is worth seeing if you have not already seen it. So welcome, and we hope to see you at the museum later.
Hi, my name is Jalen Hicks. I'm from Queen Anne's County, but I work at the Waters Edge Museum as their curator and graphic artist. Hi. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kiara Brummell, and I'm the docent at the Waters Edge Museum.
Hi, I'm June Frisbee, and I've been an active member of the Black Student Achievement Program in Montgomery County and in Howard County.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure being here. My name is Donna Deere, also known as one of the aunties, co-owner of Mount Pleasant Acres Farms in Caroline County. Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Paulette Green, and I'm the other half of the aunties and at Mount Pleasant Acres Farms. And we'd like to invite you all to make a presence at Mount Pleasant Acres Farms as soon as you can. And we're going to be hosting next year, Juneteenth. This will be our second annual Juneteenth at Mount Pleasant Acres Farms, and it will be on June the 19th, the exact date, which is on a Thursday. So we're looking forward to seeing all of you all there, and then you can see some of the wonderful things that we're doing at Mount Pleasant Acres Farms. Thank you.
I am Marshall Johnson. I am a lay servant here at Waters. I'm also the president of trustees and also the president of Methodist Men. So I wear a few hats here. I came today out of curiosity, really, and also to keep the pastor out of trouble.
I'm Linda Paez. I'm here both to represent volunteer work at the Banneker-Douglass-Tubman Museum, as well as the chair of a committee at the Goshen Farm Preservation Society in Anne Arundel County, trying to fulfill the Underground Railroad information for our application to the Network to Freedom site.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Deborah Scott, and I am the director of a living history site that is being established in Wycomico County.
Hi, my name is Renee McKinney, and I'm the president of the Harrisville Malone Cemetery Maintenance Fund in Dorchester County. And I just want to thank all the commissions for awarding us another $250,000. We have a story to tell, and I'll tell you, when we get done, it's going to be something else.
And I'm Candace Giles, Vice President of the Harrisville Malone Cemetery Maintenance Fund. Thank you.
Hi, Chris Buckey, past president of the Queen Anne's County Historical Society and currently honorary member of the board at Kennard African American Heritage and Cultural Center in Centerville, Queen Anne's County.
My name is Justin Warner. I'm an Oxford resident and part of the Oxford Historical Commission. I'm just taking advantage of the fact that you guys are here and had the opportunity to come by and listen to what you had to say.
Good afternoon. My name is Stuart Parnes, and I'm curator at the other Oxford Museum. We have two museums in Oxford. One's across the street, and then there's, of course, the Waters Edge. The Oxford Museum is celebrating its 60th birthday this year, and we collect and preserve and celebrate both white and black members of the Oxford community. So I'm delighted to be here.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kevin Porter. I'm the founder and president of the White Marsh Historical Society. Not to be confused with White Marsh, Baltimore County, but it's a historical site in Prince George's County, most famous for the election for the Archbishop John Carroll and the foundation of the American Catholic Church. I'm also a descendant of the Jesuit slave community at that site. It's an honor to be here because the diaspora of the enslaved community there extends to on this street here. And I look forward to connecting with everyone and visiting the museum and building the network. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Antonio Hawkins, and I am a 12th grade student at Blue High School.
How y'all doing today? My name is Lavonte. I'm a student at Blue. Yeah, I'm at 12th grade.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is London Diggs, and I'm a junior at Blue Senior High School.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Savannah Dawson, and I am a 11th grade student at Blue Senior High School.
Hi, my name's Trust. I'm a Blue 10th grade student at Blue Senior High School. I just want to thank y'all for letting us come here and everything. So thank you.
Sorry, what county is it in?
It's not in the county.
DC? I thought so. I said
That's it. For those of you that haven't been here before, we just celebrated our 141st anniversary of this church. This church was built. This church was built as you came into town. There was a little church on the left-hand side with a cemetery behind it. Well, the African Americans that lived here in Oxford used to walk from here up to that church to go to service and singing and praying band services. And since it's so small, they used to send the children out to play in the cemetery. And then this church was built to replace that. So just to give you that little bit of information, and 141 years, and I've been here since I was about 5 years old, all except for 22 years that I spent in the Army. But that was just to give you let you know a little bit about this church. And we're very proud of it. We're very small, but we're very proud. Thank you. Thank you.
Janet, can you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Jan Lee. I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications at the Banneker-Douglass-Tubman Museum and for the Commission.
Amazing, Jan. And I want to acknowledge our other three members of the staff. Can you guys stand up and introduce yourselves?
Hello, everyone. My name is Martina Dodd. I'm the Curator of Collections and Exhibitions at the Banneker-Douglass-Tubman Museum.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Leslie Rhodes, and I'm the Exhibits Manager at the Banneker-Douglass-Tubman Museum.
I'm the Marketing Coordinator and James right here.
All again, thank you. Abiola Akintola, the Educational Coordinator at the Banneker-Douglass-Tubman Museum.
Thank you so much to the team, and thank you to our lay leader for giving us that brief history of the church. I really appreciate it. And the students of Ballou. My father was a graduate of Ballou High School. My uncle, I am DC proud and strong, so I'm honored to have you here today.
I just want to acknowledge specifically those fine young men and ladies in the back. There are students from my class, my African American history class. You guys stand up one more time. I want to acknowledge them because we were trying to pull this together very quickly at the last minute, and our transportation fell through. So, and they got up very early this morning. They had to be at school way before school started. They showed up, they were there, they're here, they'll be very well prepared for the quiz that's coming after. Thank you very much, you guys. And one other note from the PR and Historical Committee, everyone in this room is welcome to apply to becoming a commissioner on the commission. So please take a look at the website, and if you so feel inclined, put in an application and join the commission.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Morrison. So at this time, I would like to make a motion that we adjourn this meeting. Can I have that second? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? I didn't think so. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. Thank you.